Hi, I'm Marc DeBiase, and I want to demonstrate here an example of standard, traditional jazz music and percussion that is traditional patterns from that genre. This is an example of where I would start the basic jazz percussionist learning path, beginning with what jazz is based on in percussion, and that's the triplet. The triplet is a pattern used throughout the music, and it's very important to not only understand it, but to be able to learn the dynamics of it and apply them to music accurately. And that includes not only learning cognitively what they are and understanding what they are, but also integrating the muscle skills, the muscle memory, hand techniques, etc., and tool techniques to accomplish the percussion tasks. So that being said, the music that I am focusing on here as standard is music one might relate to the Rat Pack period. Sinatra, Tony Bennett, that era of music. It's really cool and smooth music with soft shoe step sort of beats and progressions. The BPM, beats per minute, that is played in the music is very variable. It can be slow, it can be fast. The song that we will start with as an example of content will be a slow song for one to see the dynamics of the patterns clearly and to understand them and then to begin to apply them. So the triplet is for demonstration purposes. I would provide the student with notation and more information on beats per minute and subdivisions of each note, but that's much more advanced. I believe that it's best to start the student actually playing percussion and getting into the feel and rhythm of the percussion and applying accurate techniques that way. Much like learning a language, much like a baby learns a language and starts to speak the language because it's fun and they can say what they want to say and they can communicate with people, but then they learn about sentences, vowels, verbs, tense, how to write, etc. later on in life. Well, I think it's best to start the musician off with actually playing music and then reflecting on what it is that they can accomplish physically and relate that to actual notation and music measure so that they can take what they already know implicitly, understand it explicitly as written music, and then develop the written learning skills. So that's the path that I would take with the beginning student. So we're going to apply this pattern of the triplet. Very simple. Now, one of the aspects of learning this pattern is not only playing the triplet, playing it on time, in measure, and with rhythm and melody. It's also the longevity of the skill that's required and the stamina of pulling off the task accurately throughout the entire piece of music. Oftentimes, the learner will want to stray away accomplishing the task and becoming comfortable with them over time is also a focus of the instruction that I offer. Now, we can take this basic pattern once it's learned and begin to build upon it. Starting with the snare, we have a lot of opportunities to pull the snare into the mix. We can play with the pattern, such as simple enough, sounds cool, basic, cool. Or we can play on the break, on the upbeat, very simple, yet cool. Now, applying different techniques, colors, flavors to music. So, applying them into the context of the overall composition is something of learning as well. I would introduce techniques such as brush rolling. It's a neat technique that's used, such as sliding the brushes on coated heads. But the brush technique, spinning it, is pretty simple. Now, if you take different techniques and combine them, you can pull off different movements in the music. So, at this time, of course, I'm focusing on the techniques themselves, but to unwind and then focus on the music itself, additionally, I train ambidextria and balance. Balance is very, very important in percussion. You notice that I played the pattern of that song, of the ride, throughout the entire song with my right hand. Balance is also something that's very, very important to learn percussion. So with beginning students and advanced students, I also focus heavily on balance to enable them to learn to understand what they're capable of playing in percussion when they get the most out of being more ambidextrous and in balance. the learner can really go far that way. So here's an example of what it is I would instruct and the goals that I would have for learning.